rusty part. I've been practicing last couple days. I decided it was time to like try to warm up, get to resurrect some new tunes for camp. It seems every year at camp people ask me to. I take requests at camp, so I typically don't even have to play anything in practice because people ask me to play stuff and I just try it, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I thought for some reason a couple days ago I started thinking about it's August 29th, Friday the 29th. Very important day in rock and roll history. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll have a little trivia game coming up. So yeah, a few days ago, I thought, I should resurrect some of the songs that I haven't played in many of them in 5 or 10 years, and see what kind of shape they're in. That one's called A Little Jolt. It's on my album Cobble Creek. I'm pretty sure it's on Cobble Creek, along with like Whodunit. I've played Whodunit a lot here. That's this one. Anyway, I might brush that one up a little bit too. It's probably not too bad a shape. Anyway, my point was, I kind of thought I was starting to have fun. Well, I also put new strings on my guitar yesterday, Santa Cruz strings, and this guitar it's sounding really good today. But started thinking about tunes that I used to really like to play a lot, and they've just sort of fallen by the wayside. I'm sure this happens to everybody. Here's a bit of another one, but I've played this on the news here recently. Let me think about it. This is Paprika. Oh yeah. Like I said. That's it. Forgot what was going to happen there at the end. I just started thinking. Anyway, so that's Paprika, and I always like playing that one. I got to tighten up the ending and figure out what's going on there. I forgot something. So that's enough of what I've been doing the last couple days. We did have my report on Jangatos. I was blown away. I did not put this in the forum yet, but on my first thought about going there was, boy, I don't know if I can take 2 sets of gypsy jazz. Robert and his team, his rhythm guitar player and bassist, were just phenomenal, and half the tunes they played. We knew they were like Take the A Train and All of Me, and anyway, stuff like that. And some originals with vocals that were like Dan Hicks style vocals. It was great. My sister and I had a great time, and then we met Tom, a local guy who won the tickets from our giveaway last week. So anyway. Jangatos. I will get to editing. I still have this. I'm running behind on Robert's jazz workshop that he did back in June. Anyway, so that's that report. Oh, the big news going around here for the week was I finally finished one more James Taylor song. Now I've got one more still cooking that has been delayed, but I got to Blossom like I think I promised that last Friday. So that all worked out. It's been added to the Essential James Taylor pack, and I think that's it for there. Now, the interesting news for today, I think that's all the stuff I really had to talk about, was I mentioned that August 29th is a fairly important day in rock and roll history. And I'm going to give you some hints I'm going to play some tunes I'm going to play bits and pieces. You might not recognize them all, and I might not get to. Anyway, this is going to be a bizarre little medley. Almost 12-bar blues. See if you can tell me what's wrong with this. Okay, that's the first hint. What is the next one? Okay, what's the next one? Ooh, I'm not sure I can fake my way through this one. I'm gonna work out a good fingering for that. I don't think I ever did a solo version of that. I probably should have. Okay, that was song number 3. Here's song number 4. That's enough of that. Okay, that was number 4. Here's song 5. Number 6. That's enough of that one. Number 7. See, do I have any more? Ooh, I don't know if I can get through this one. Okay, that's enough of that one. Same key. There's a lot of people that say you shouldn't play consecutive songs in the same key, but here's a place where they did. Such a cool progression. Four normal chords in the key of E. E, chord 5, B, chord 4, A, back to 1, then to 2, and then a minor 4. What the heck were they thinking? These guys just didn't know what they were doing. Let's see, what number was that? Was that 9? I think so. Let me see if I can, I don't know. That's enough. Now, that was number 10, right? Did I get them all? I think so. I played all little bits and pieces of all 10 songs. If you could identify them all, you probably know where I'm going with this. Now, there was one more that happened, but these were August 29th, 1966. What happened? If you're in Northern California, you knew. I was only 10, but I knew about it. I just couldn't go because I was only 10. But it was the Candlestick Park show, of course. Paul McCartney and the band. They had not announced they were never going to tour again, but Paul had asked, I'm going to forget his name. It wasn't, anyway, one of the stagehands, one of their backup crew, to record their show at Candlestick Park. So there was a little cassette recorder just sitting on the front on the edge of the stage with a C60, a 30-minute cassette in it it only was going to record for 30 minutes. So they only got about a minute's worth of the last song, which was Long Tall Sally, which I didn't play. But thankfully for these things were documented, and you probably can't see this very well. I'll put a better picture of this here, but this is an album that I picked up. These were very hard to find back in the day when I got this about 30 years ago. Yeah, it was in the middle 90s. This is an import album called Shea Candlestick, because 2 weeks before that they played at Shea Stadium. And anyway, Paul, I think, knew that they were going to wrap this up, and hence he asked this to be recorded. Now, the recording is terrible. It sounds like the recordings I made of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young in 1970 when I walked in with my little Panasonic cassette recorder I had just gotten when I was 14. And but I still have those tapes too. But they eventually released Four-Way Street that was pretty much the same tour. So, okay, so the story there was, that was the set list, what I just played. So I just played through. Let me see if I can read it off here. Yes, I can. Now, I mentioned that first song was a not quite 12-bar blues. I'll let you go back and listen to it and figure out what was wrong with it. But it was a Chuck Berry song. Rock and roll music. You got that one? Okay. The next one was, what was it? It was this, right? Did you get that? That was one of their big hits. She's a Woman. The next one I totally botched, right? Was George Harrison's tune, If I Needed Someone. That was the third song in their set. Then they did Day Tripper. Then they did one of their waltzy tunes. Got that one? Babies in Black. This is one, you recognize that riff, but you might not have come up with the name depending on how your familiarity. Got it? I Feel Fine. You're right. Next one was too obvious. Now, interesting thing about yesterday is when they recorded the original of that, Paul McCartney had his guitar tuned down, as we've talked about before, so it was really in the key of F because they had a guitar tuned a whole step low that made the notes easier for him to get to. However, they weren't going to go to the trouble there to have an acoustic guitar on stage that he could play and have it tuned low. Although I don't know how many songs, they probably didn't use it in very many songs. And so this one he really did in the key of G, singing it up higher. It only gets up to a G. He can get those G's. But you know what? He just probably wanted the warmth. His voice is a little warmer if he only has to get to F. That's probably the reason for that. Then they had a Ringo tune. I Want to Be Your Man. Followed by, now one of the reasons that they really stopped touring was because the things that, like these next two songs, Nowhere Man, wow, on that A minor he sings a G sharp. So weird. This song and the next one, which was something like Paperback Writer in particular, started off with a really difficult harmony parts. And that's the kind of thing they couldn't do on stage anymore. The songs had gotten too complicated. Songs like Nowhere Man and Paperback Writer, they were fine doing Chuck Berry songs and Day Tripper and stuff like that. But they really felt that in order to grow, they had to stop touring because they were wasting their time doing these 30-minute shows and just doing rock and roll songs when they could be coming up with so much more creative stuff in the studio. So, okay, that's it for today's diversion. The Candlestick Park Show. August 29th, 1966. And last time they played live, of course, until January 30th of 1969. 2.5 years later, I guess. Oh, yeah. 2.5 years almost. When they were on the roof to wrap up the whole Get Back sessions. Okay, I hope to be back next week. We're heading into camp right after that, but I hope everybody has a nice, relaxing Labor Day weekend and get some guitar playing and some barbecuing in. See ya.